Okay, Google Drive, when you go to it, there's got lots of folders in there that you can see when I send you the link, or follow the link that I just sent you. Right click on A-Level Mods, download, and it puts it in a zip file. When it's finished downloading, and it might take 3 or 4 minutes, you can open the zip file and you can put it anywhere you like on your laptop or PC. And I've done that previously, and when it's in my directory here, I've got a folder which is 174 meg apparently, but if I do properties and have a look at it, 179 meg is the size of the disk, 2,700 meg files, that's quite a few, and read only according to this one, no hidden ones. Are there? Right, no hidden ones. Okay, so we open that one up and we can see lots of folders and mostly useful files down below, which are not so useful this year, but a few of them specifically for next year are, I think, and feedback is they are quite useful. Add Excel C1, let's have a look at and see how we use this. So open up C1 file, 208 files in here, and if we use the Microsoft not very good search or filter thing, if you put in int or integration, sometimes it works with int, it gives us everything that's described or named as which includes int together. For some reason it's picked up quadratic and linear algebra questions too. We can be systematic or we can be random about selecting a bundle of these questions. Let's have a look at 6 questions. So if I right click on, just left click on one of them, scroll down a bit, press pause, keep pause, and left click again. If I press enter, these open for me in Word, they might open for you in another type of application, whatever you've chosen to open files of this nature as. And those 6 files we can view through by having the mouse over, hover the mouse over the thumbnail that comes up in the bottom of our screen. And we can use this to select even further the type of questions that we want to load and actually use a pen and paper to answer. Maybe you want to include this one for 4 marks. I wouldn't. I can do this one in my head. Add 1 to the power becomes x cubed, divide by 3, 2x cubed. This one we can rewrite as 2x to the minus 2, add 1 to the power minus 1, divide by minus 1 means change the sign. So far we've got 2x cubed, take away 2 over x, plus 5x, that becomes when we integrate it, and then add c. So those 4 marks we might be able to do in our head, and we might not choose to do them. This is similar, but we're going to integrate this, change that to x to the minus 3, and then we can diff it for 3 marks and integrate it, and that includes the add c for the 4th mark. Again, that's something I think I can do quite easily. Wouldn't want to have a go at, but maybe you would choose to do it. This one is a little bit more meaty, a 10-mark question. This is one of those where we get f dash of x equals something. We're going to do x divided by root x, 9 divided by root x, 2 terms, integrate each one of them, add the c, and then put 9 and 0 in for x and y to find the value of c, and the y equals 2 terms and then a c, and then we found f of x. Find the x coordinates of the 2 points on the y and do something else with it. So that's a slightly more mixed question where we do an integration and then something else. So I'm going to keep that one, and I'm going to keep this one because that looks the same. So we're going to integrate this to find f of x, put 4 and 5 in to find the value of c for 5 marks, and then do 4 marks to do something with divided by the x. So that's not all integration, but it's certainly based on it's an integration type question, and most of the marks there, 5 of them, for integration. And this one is similar to this first few that we deleted already. This is really easy, x cubed when we integrate that. This one we change to 4x to the minus 2, add 1 to the power minus 1, divide by minus 1 makes that plus 4x over x. plus 4 over x, and then add c. So there's our 4 marks for that. So we're left, after that filter process, with 3 questions that we're actually going to answer. We haven't wasted our time because we did those other 3 questions that we deleted. We did them in our head, but we did them really efficiently. What we're left with is 9 marks there, 10, that's 19 altogether, another 8, 27 marks worth of questions. So I'm going to leave those and I'm going to go through them, and as I go through them with pen and paper, I'm going to label each one. May 10, question 11 is the first one, May 13 R, question 10. Look at Excel C1 if you want to put the name of the board and the paper that you're doing, and then May 12, question 7. Once we've done those, and we have a break and we come back either later today or tomorrow, maybe immediately after if it's still fresh, but I suggest that have a break and come back to them. We can go back into this part of the folder and go into the mark scheme. And if we scroll down to May 12 mark schemes, you'll see that these aren't described so fully. May 12 paper question 7 will tell us how we get those 8 marks for May 12 question 7. Look, 4 marks to begin with. M1 is a method mark. We only get this mark as long as we did the right thing at the first part. That DM mark is to find the equation of the tangent, and the second part of this question is to find f of x. This is where we integrate those terms. We didn't really have a look at this one in detail. We went through them. The first bit was do something with f dash of x, find the tangent equation, and then find f of x by integrating this, putting the values of x equals 4, y equals 1 into the equation to find the value of c that we would get out here after integrating, and that's what's shown here. And so we can learn from having, and we learn effectively the things that we pinpoint that we need to have practice on, and then we can have a look and see if the mark scheme helps us in any way as to what we should have, could have, would have done in order to gain all the marks. And then maybe if we've made some errors on these, maybe we want to go through that process again to choose some more questions to consolidate our learning. Maybe the same day, maybe leave it a day and come back and see if you can remember it tomorrow or 2 or 3 days later or next week or some other time. If the mark scheme is not very helpful, then what else can we do? Well, I've chosen past paper questions because generally there's a wealth of things on the net that you can Google. One of that question was May 12/7 at Excel C1. So if we open up a new page on here and we Google search and we look for at Excel C1 May paper, and it was May 2012 paper and question 7, so we can be really specific. One of the results is exam solutions, and we have other people who've made solutions that they want to demonstrate too. C1 Edexcel June 2012, question 6, that one, and this one is question 7. There you go. So view the solution, and it takes us to his website, the YouTube video that was made, and it takes him 10 minutes 49 to answer this question, which was 8 marks. So it's taken ages. So a few things you can do to speed up this process and become more efficient is to either go straight to the end of his video clip, pause it, you may wish to make it full screen, and get rid of any ads so you can see clearly and scroll around to see what his working is. And if that doesn't help, then you might want to go back to the start and follow all of his working and everything that he says. If we get out of the full screen and we choose to, on our settings, playback speed, so if you don't like his very boring, slow voice with lots of pauses and and such things, which I suppose I do a fair bit of too. We can unpause that or unmute it, speed it up 1.5 times, and still you can still understand what he's saying because he talks so slowly ordinarily, and not only do you speed up his voice so it's not too bad to listen to, but it's going to take 2/3 of the time to get through those nearly 11 minutes of the explanation for you. So there's one thing you can do. On his site there's another fairly useful thing, if we go into that, Exam Solutions, was the examiner's report, and this is just a whole examiner's report from summer 2012 C1, and if we go down to question 7, it's quite a lot of explanation about what candidates did and whether, so it discriminated well. Half the candidates getting at least 6 of the 8 marks available, and it tells you what, generally the examiner will say what successful candidates did to get all the marks or most of the marks, and what they did not so successfully, what their standard mistakes were. So sometimes for some students, maybe that's you, maybe not, when you're making a standard mistake, it's nice to know that other people are making the same mistake as well, but also points out the things that you need to avoid on answering certain types of questions. So there you go. Download, what did we do? We downloaded from the Google Drive there by doing right click and download, open the zip file, put it on our own hard drive, which is now here, and then we can go into the main open folder. We can choose a folder that we want to have a go at some questions, don't want mark schemes, don't want to get questions. We can filter by, I don't know, differentiation, put diff in, we just get differentiation questions. Some of them I've labelled as diff and int, and this one, it's, yeah, good old Microsoft Search has given us something that doesn't involve diff at all. We can select a few questions, we can have a look at the thumbnails of those questions once they're all open, or as they're opening. We've got thumbnails of 7 and 8 questions now, including the integration one that we left open, and the other part that was open too. And we can make a selection. We can do some questions in our head that are not too difficult. 4 marks, find the y by the x and put 3 in. Piece of cake, 2 mark, 2 mark, 3 marks. There's a function differentiator and then integrate it. Not too bad. Find the y by the x with a fraction in for 6 marks. Maybe you want to have a go at that one, and so on and so on and so on. Leave a few questions, time yourself while you're doing them, keep a record of your score, and once you've done them, have a look at the mark scheme by going back, by making a record of the questions that you've done, labelling them nicely. You can go back from here into the mark scheme, open up the mark scheme and have a look at it. If that helps, brilliant. If not, we can Google and have a look at Mr. Exam Solutions at Excel papers, and maybe on there we can view the examiner's report as well, just for some other information. And while we're listening or watching what he's saying, maybe it's useful to speed him up a little bit by going into there and by choosing, yeah, it's already muted, by choosing settings, playback speed. Don't want normal playback speed, I need 1.5 speed. In my experience, pretty much every one of his videos, it's still understand what he's saying. It's a little bit more pleasant and takes 2/3 of the time. That's enough time saving. Or you can just scroll to the end and have a look at the working that you could have, would have, should have done. And you can do full screen by clicking that one. Get out of it by pressing escape. So there's some things that we can do to be more efficient in our learning. Thanks for watching. Best of luck.